you're good.
When they had their individual timeline done, just like I said, hang on to that. We'll use it on Wednesday. I did a cell lesson on Tuesday because I had already planned to have Miss Larquente in there.
Cool.
So they did, what they do? Oh, digital safety on Tuesday about how we don't share passwords and we don't post pictures and all that stuff. And so then Wednesday they came back, and so I had them have their timeline, open the article again, and then get back with, get into a group of 6. So they got into a group of 6, and then they had to, that one, they did not use their time wisely. This one. So then they had to make it bigger, and I had to catch them because they noticed in the article that, like, it started talking about, like, 250 CE, and then and then at the end of the article, it had, like, a way earlier date. And they're like, wait, miss, it has the date out of order. And I said, okay, you're gonna have to go back. So then we put them in the actual order on the screen. And I said, like, these are not in the order in the article when you go look for them to write the event. So then they made it in a group of 6, a big old long table. They had to put that. They were supposed to have pictures, but they took, I didn't gauge the time very well. And it was Wednesday, and, Wednesdays, sometimes we forget that we don't have 80 minutes.
Right.
And so they were ideally, I had wanted pictures on here with, like, some of the events, but they did not have time for that. And this one. And I had them fill up the whole page. And so what I'm going to do, since this was the Maya, we're going to be ending the Maya on Tuesday. So they're in a mini DBQ, document-based question, and it's a district paid for resource. It's in Clever.
Cool.
And so if you're not familiar with it, they have a lot of scaffolds in it. They have questions with the documents, and they have where you can sort out the documents, and like they have little sentence frames. So on Monday, they went through the documents today, and it's making a claim on which achievement of the Maya is most remarkable. The calendar, or their buildings, or their trade, or their number system, since they found 0, or they included 0 in their numbering system. And so on Monday, we're going to do a class or group essay instead of having it individuals do a DBQ, because it's probably their first DBQ. They're going to have them do it in their groups. It's like one of them has each document. We did a jigsaw today.
Cool.
One of them has each document, so they'll have to share like evidence from each document. And then we'll get into the Aztecs, and I'm going to have them do the same thing here, but on different color paper.
Okay.
For Aztec and Inca as we get through the unit, and then I'll have them all like stacked so they could see if there was any overlap between the civilizations.
Almost a compare and contrast.
Yeah, compare the advancements of the civilizations, and if there's overlap, did they ever interact? Because they're all in Mesoamerica, so it's possible there was overlap.
And did you say that was for the Incas?
Which one?
You have the Mayan.
We're finishing up Maya. We're going to do Aztec, and then Inca.
Gotcha.
Inca's last.
Gotcha.
That'll be right after fall break.
Perfect. You said both, and I captured Incas, but not Aztecs. Thank you. Okay, so then they'll have the same structure, but just different civilizations.
Yes, different content, but the same idea.
Okay, that makes sense to me. And then, ironically, this was like the unit when I did like that summer planning work. Who knew?
Oh.
I had never coached in on 6th grade. I've always done 7th and 8th grade. So I wanted to learn 6th grade standards. So that's the one I picked for this class, ironically, was 6th grade social studies.
Right when we're doing the Mesoamerica civilization.
Yeah, so we did unit planning and curriculum mapping, basically. So I did the whole overview, but then I kind of got caught with like I did the first standard, the first unit, just to play around with the depth of it. But with that in mind, did I capture the correct standard? Like, there were a couple of them highlighted, and we did a lot of work over the summer on just learning this. I had to learn the standards for 6th grade. So I kind of put the target and the standard together in the piece above where I was typing.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure that I'm capturing.
Those are the correct standards.
Okay,
Yeah, because they're
perfect.
looking at civilization. What is civilization?
Yeah.
It's not just people, but it's the stuff that people do and build and expand. So yeah, it's the development in the Western Hemisphere.
Cool. So then what I might do, where I kind of want to go, and again, this is more just to be in line with what the coaching is going to be like in the building and the alignment of just being a new staff together, growing together, is we wanted, when we kind of started doing Boston's Best in previous years, we all kind of wanted to, it's like kind of group work in that thinking and learning. So what I did is I'm kind of building some models for us to go through. So I reached out to Kayla and Jay, and of course Jay was, has been out this week. But Kayla was like, here's the document that I'm working on in my coaching. And it was ironic because
That's the thing they showed us last night on the ELD training. The second link?
oh, that second link was something I kind of worked on.
Oh, okay.
Did they take something from that? 'Cause, we used a model of
was it?
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
function, form, and vocabulary. They had us do a little exercise with identifying the specific,
like pulling
the
it out.
content language,
Yeah.
or the content thing, the language thing, and then how. And like, I shared in the chat that my experience, which I told you, was I was never specific. I would just be like, I can compare and contrast, period. And then the new thing for me was adding it. I can compare and contrast this by doing that.
Yes.
So yeah, I saw this last night.
I love that. The product is what you're saying.
Yeah, the
with
product
that.
and the language goal.
Yes. So what makes me happy is when you realize you're like, okay, she's not creating these things out of, right. So it sounds like you got that learning last night. It's kind of what you and I pushed in on. So let's continue on with that. And with that format. And so what I did is I like and want to continue this work that we're doing. And what I added in was another model. So keep that model, and I'm just going to add on. The Boston's Best Essential Elements now is taking that model and just going richer and deeper. So keep the number 2, the embedded language piece that you've started. And let's look at the essential elements one, because I was trying to find a document that encompassed some of the learning we've done before and some things that we're going to look at as we calibrate on learning targets this year. And so if you could look at that document, do you mind if I come over and look at it with you? Because it's so much easier to see what you're seeing. So first of all, it's Kayla, so she made it pretty. And let's start with that pretty lavender part. And I think these are kind of almost like guided questions that she had in it. So look at the lavender part for a moment. I will too. I'll stop talking and start to verbally process aloud with me what you're seeing or what you're thinking about after you finish.
So this one, the can be assessed in one day part, the very first line, that's something that I'm still feeling out with, being new to middle school, 80 minutes or 53, depending on the day. And like my pacing, I had the district's pacing, how many days am I supposed to spend on this? But then, things come up in classroom discipline or students getting pulled for small group or that. So that's something that sometimes I can assess it in one day, but like this timeline got pushed. There was picture day and then it got pushed to so that one took 2 days to assess that. Yeah.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there. I think what it's trying to say is like, it's just trying to help when we create a target, like it's keeping it from the people that are like, okay, and then we're going to, like, sometimes people write them so broad. Let me think of a non-example. I can learn about the Mayan civilization by writing a 5-page, a 5-paragraph essay. Well, that is probably not realistic.
That's the summative assessment.
Correct. Like that would be ridiculous to write that as a target. That's not a targeted learning lesson for that day. That could be your overall target.
Yeah.
But that's what we were trying to do is sometimes people did vast targets that were not achievable. And then you couldn't be like, hey, did you meet your target? because that's
because
not a
we haven't got there yet.
Right,
Because we
it's
just
not a-
learned about what happened.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying. So that's a non-example. And I think like you were trying to plan for a measurable target to see if they got it
Yeah.
that day, and then things happen. But you were planning for something to make sure that there's a product to
Yeah.
show that they got it, evidence.
And then in 7th grade, I did it on Wednesday. I
There you go.
had an
Yeah.
exit ticket. I had an exit ticket
Mhm.
2 days in a row in 7th grade.
Cool.
One was on comparing cultures, and one was on how did religion spread in, from, or Jerusalem out. How
Yeah.
it spread.
Well, and
So I
that
had to
target
research.
and that assessment align, and that's
Yeah.
that's what we're getting at. Okay, talk to me more. What else are you seeing with that?
Like that I am doing, or what? Just my thoughts.
Start with what you're doing, and then
Okay.
tell me if there's something you could do more.
I think that I'm specific, clear, and concise. I think I have that second checkbox.
Cool.
I specified rise and fall of the Mayan
Mhm.
by
Yep.
making a timeline. That is obviously a timeline. It has a start and when they disappeared. It is standards based because I'm copying language directly from the standard. It's posted on the board and on the screen, so that when I move the screen, it's still there.
Exactly.
I have a student read it out loud. Third one down in that group, the vocabulary is unpacked. You might have been there when I stopped and said, now remember, in your notebook you have the word civilization. That's the people's accomplishment. I don't have visual examples. That's something that I can add in, is having a visual example of the content terms.
Yeah, I think that'd be engaging too.
Rather than just in your notebook, but like maybe like taped to the TV or something that it stays there.
I might just show you. Here's my target that I did with kids today.
Oh.
So I just make it fun to see, because like all of a sudden it pops out. I love that.
I have not debriefed learning target within the lesson. That's something that I haven't done much in my experience, is closing the lesson. I'm good at opening the lesson, but I'm not so good at official closure, like an exit ticket or like give one, get one, what did you learn, or write out on a sticky note. I haven't done that much. And
I'll be real with you, that's really that's common.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are like, okay, so to be real with you, I absolutely agree with everything you just said, and you're on to where we're at next.
Okay.
Right? That's exactly right. Because people can write a target. Now it's like, how do you unwrap it with kids? So this is the part that I would love for you to look over, and then we could make an action step out of that, because I think this is where you're at in your learning.
Going into the yellow section?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to just make sure you had everything for the other, and the visual thing is going to take you 2 seconds. But now we're into the depth of where we're going.
Okay, yeah, easy to read visual format. Just add a picture of a timeline, or add a picture of
you're super sharp, Ashley. Like, some of this is going to be like boom, boom, boom. And so we'll think of an action, because there's a lot in the action steps.
Oh, okay.
Or sorry, there's a lot in this next part. So a couple things will be quick and easy, but I think the unwrapping piece is kind of where I think you're on to something with. I'll look at it together, because it's like.
So replicable steps. What does that
Almost.
mean?
Yeah, so this is almost like getting into the success criteria part. I'm almost wondering though, if we go into, let's see if she did this part. It's really this part of the lavender, actually.
Okay.
If because you've got this piece,
And I've
you've
got
done this,
and it's kind of right here.
yeah, that's
the halfway point. Okay.
because what most teachers are gonna do is they're going to read it, and then it's done. So like, how do you read and reference it? How do you close with it? How do you check that how do the kids look at how they've done with the target and start to self-assess, especially middle schoolers? How do they know they met the target that day? That's the kind of thinking that I think would be really richer and deeper with this, because you've done this part, you're writing it. How do we share the target?
Maybe like put it in the exit ticket, and like I could break it down and be like, check. I have them check out in the exit ticket. Did I make this Venn diagram? Did I do this timeline? And then explain, 2 things that you learned, or 2 things that your neighbor learned. I can do what your neighbor
So then
learned.
that's like your way to close it and keep it, because you could refer to it so that they know the importance of it. And what a great way for them to self-assess.
Yeah, I can do that.
I really like that. How do you feel about that for
Yeah.
your action stuff? Let's do it. Do you mind writing it up? I like that.
Where are we? Oh, agreed upon action step.
Uh-huh. And I know we're almost at time, but I think we're doing okay.
Is it the product?
Yeah,
Task?
it's
Okay.
really the product task. So it's aligning it, it's keeping it, it's closing it, it's self-assessing, it's keeping it going through the lesson. So it's not a one and done, right? Done. Read the learning target, now we're finished. It's it is your lesson. It is your focus of the lesson.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I've
Yeah,
done
yeah.
the one, I don't have any scratch paper. In a PD from years ago, it was like, and I did this Wednesday with 7th grade. It was the exit ticket includes, it's triangle, square, circle.
Oh, cool.
Triangle's 3 new things I learned.
Oh, right.
Square is one thing I already knew, or that squares with me, and then circle is something still circling that I'm confused about.
Got it.
So I had them do that.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Tuesday? Because Tuesdays was, here's all these Eastern civilizations. Compare what things they had in common in their culture. Did they rely on agriculture? Did they rely on trade? Did they share a language? Were they both seafaring? Whatever.
Right.
And then they had to write down like what they learned basically.
Well, what I think there's power in that, because the building I worked at before, we called it shared learning targets, because it's like your students are old enough anyway and should be self-assessing and figuring out their learning, driving it. And so I love that, because now you've gone full circle with that target. You've started the lesson, you're bringing it up of why it's important that we're doing this learning. And then now they're checking to see, did they meet that target?
Yeah, and so on here, on the Google form, when instead of it being a checkbox, I could like take a snippet,
Cool.
and then it'd be like, do you think you met this? And they click yes or no. Or they can click yes, or they can click like it's other, so they can write in that they're confused.
So you can
I
get
can do it
feedback.
that way instead of it just being yes, no.
Yeah,
Or it can be like yes, no, and then next one, if you answered no above,
why?
which part did you get stuck on? Because I've seen other teachers, not like in real life, but on Instagram, they have like for their exit ticket board thing, you put it in a certain section. You put it on this corner if you could teach the class, like a 4-to-1 if I can teach the class, or you put it here if I kind of got it, or you put your exit ticket here if you're like, I have no idea what you just did for the last hour. And so that way the teacher can pull those in the morning and pull those kids aside. I mean, it was elementary, so they kind of have.
And I almost feel, Ashley, like that's a natural part to this next section, the success criteria, because then what's going to happen naturally in our work is if you go back to that document we were looking at, just, kind of show you where we're headed, what's going to happen is you're gonna start to get, kids are gonna start to feel like, did I get the target, didn't I hit it? And then we can start getting really granular with them of like, when I meant, did you hit the target? This is what I meant. This is how you're gonna be successful. This is the criteria I'm looking for that really will help you meet that. And that's where we get into this piece here. Does that make sense?
I think so.
What I could probably do is let's stick with this the action step that we're doing now. But this is where we're headed.
So we're looking at this last one, debrief learning target.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna self-assess in the exit ticket.
Yes.
Did I?
Because do you feel like you have the other ones?
Yeah, the first two I have.
Yeah.
The third one, it's the unpacked, but I stopped there. I don't have the visuals.
Which you can add in. That's an easier one.
And then this one's kind of, well, 7th grade I do this week because we're talking about how technology makes a civilization. And they're like, I'm like, a pencil was technology when it was first medicine.
So these two are ones that now that you know, you'll be more cognizant.
Yeah.
But this is the one that I think would, basically it's this one, referencing multiple times and then debriefing.
Okay.
Let's focus on that for now.
Yeah.
And then know that where we're going.
I think so.
Yeah. Does that feel good?
I think so.
Yeah. Could I come back again?
Yes.
Can you give me times again?
Yes.
Just emailing like we did last time. And then I know you need to get kids. I say we finish up that lavender piece and feel good about this target. So are you cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll, just like we would do with a kid, we'll just chunk out the next part when we're ready, if that feels comfortable to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yay. Thank you for the treat.
Yeah.
And I hope this feels on a Friday afternoon manageable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And whatever else. So that's not too bad, right? Because I don't want to overwhelm with all that's going on. I think that's pretty easy. And you're already doing it. It's just cinching it, right? With just intention or purpose. Does that feel cool?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're okay.
Yeah. All right, my friend.